Okay. Let us get on. Okay, now we'll start. So chapter 10 is on Vibhuti Yoga and opulence of the absolute. Okay, absolute. So we are now in the Bhakti Yoga section. So let us pay obeisance to our Sri Radha Govinda. Om Agnana Timirandasya Nanaka Shalakaya Chakshurmitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Abhishtam Stapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatvam Vitam Tam Stajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakana Vittamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanasute Devi Pranamame Hari Priye Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Desha Tarine Jayo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So let us go into the chapter. So it was a very short, and we saw in chapter 9 that what Krishna says, you have to fix your mind on Krishna. So that is what we saw after the King of Education, and we saw the Bhakti Yoga. Out all Manmana Bhava Madbhakto. So in this chapter, Krishna is again talking about himself, about he is being the source of everything. The demigods don't know, and all that is and is unknowable and is a source of everyone. The creation, the material world, the demigods and all, even including Brahma. And then he talks about pure bhakti, that is essence of Bhakti Bhagavad Gita. There are 4 Chatur slokas which gives the essence of Bhagavad Gita. It's 10.8 to 10.11. That is very, and it is good to memorize these 4 verses. Madchitta Madgata Prana. Then now you see Arjuna is accepting Krishna's supreme position. So till now he was always in the doubt, but now he finally accepts that he is the supreme position. And then he is going to, then he continues to ask him to describe his vibhutis, because he is very eager to know more about the Lord Krishna. So the more and more he wants to hear about his opulences. Okay. So Krishna says, Supreme Lord said, my dear friend, mighty armed Arjuna, listen again to my supreme word, which I shall impart to you for your benefit, and which will give you great joy. So now he is telling him to listen again. See, this listening comes very much, keeps on coming as emphasizing on that word. Actually, hearing from a bona fide source and is always good, because that is the one which will help us to be in the Krishna consciousness. So hearing about Krishna can happen only with devotion. If somebody is willing to practice Anukul Bhakti, that is, which should be favorable to Krishna. And it should not be something like, you're just doing it for the name's sake or anything. Unless you do with great intent of pleasing the Lord, if your intention is to important, to please the Lord, so that is bhakti. So he is telling. And here what we see here, we see the attitudes of the devotees. You see a devotee here and a non-devotee. This is Duryodhana and this is Arjuna. They have come now before the battle. They would have come to Krishna to ask for to which side he is going to take part in the battle. So you see how Duryodhana is so arrogant and he's sitting at the head, whereas here you can see Arjuna very humble, waiting for Krishna to wake up. So this is how the devotees are with the Lord, okay, and non-devotees. So Krishna says, and here he says, whatever I'm going to tell you now, it's not only beneficial, which will give you great joy. But what is the joy we have in this material world? Whatever we might get something, you might, you would have graduated and you'll be happy with your marks, and all that will be there for some time. Again, it won't last for long. Okay, and also material things, it is you will get a lot of, you see a lot of rich people here, millionaires. They have a lot of wealth, a lot of cars, bungalow and everything. But even then you hear some of them committing suicides, isn't it? Or even the film stars and all that. Why it happens? Because if you think that by possessing something, many things that we will become happy, then it is it's a mistake, because it never ends. You might have millions of rupees or heavy bank balance, but it will not make us completely happy. It might be only temporary. And if you think that happiness is proportional to the things possessed by him, then it is a foolish thing. Okay, that we know clearly. And Vaishnavas know very well that those people are very unhappy. So Prabhupada says only Krishna consciousness can give us true joy, that too in association with devotees. The sooner we realize this, it is better for each one of us. But doesn't mean that in conditioned life or the family life, they are not the source of happiness. It is there. But if we want to put our faith in something which is temporary, because our life itself is temporary here, isn't it? So it's not a surprise that we will be unhappy. We won't be happy throughout. So even 7th canto, Narada Muni also stresses on this point, how we have to be, only true joy comes in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so here he says whatever is going to tell him is going to give a beneficial, and it is great joy. What does Krishna say? Name vidusura ganaha prabhavam na mahashaya kaham adiri devana mahashinam cha sarvasha. Neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and the sages. So isn't it true that if somebody is creating, if I'm being created by someone, then I cannot know about the person who has created me, isn't it? Because I am myself have come secondary. So it will be, we can't know everything about the person who has created. Like for example, if you have your family, you have parents, grandparents, great-grandparents and all that. And if you want to know how they live, then we'll be trying to learn from them. We can't understand. See, even now, my own grandson may not understand that I come from a time when there was no mobile. For him, mobile is a done thing, isn't it? It is there in his everyday. He can't think of a life where people could have been living without a mobile or without even a phone. So that way, we can't understand how the lives of our own grandparents or great-grandparents live, because they have come from, we have come from them, right? And we don't know how to that. Same way, demigods and devatas, they are all being created by the Lord. Okay, so he is the origin. So he cannot, demigods cannot know about the creator completely. So he says, no one knows me in every respect. I am the source. So they don't know me fully. And he who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the supreme Lord of all the worlds, he is undeluded. So, and he'll be free from all sins. So, if people have great faith and then they are convinced that he is the origin and he is the source, and they are fixed in that, then he says they are free from all sins. And here whom we see is Devaki in the prison house. She will be expecting the Lord to come. And you see all the Devatas and everyone are waiting for him, for the Lord to appear. So they have not seen him. Okay. They only been created. And the 7 great sages, and before them the 4 other great sages and Manus are born out of mind. Okay. And all creatures in these planets descend from them. So he's saying all, now he's giving the hierarchy in the material world. And then he continues to say, Etam vibhutim yogam cha mama yo vetti tatvataha so vilkalpena yogena yujyate natra samshaya. That is, he who knows in truth this glory and power of mind will engage himself in unalloyed devotional service. Of this, there is no doubt. Natra samshaya. So, who are the spiritualists? They are the ones who believe him to be in this glory and power of mind. So they know all his appearance thing, he's been unborn and all that. So they will engage themselves in unalloyed devotional service. And you see, unalloyed means there are metals which are alloyed, like brass, bronze, steel, and all that. So when we say unalloyed means it's pure bhakti. There is no mixture. And they know about his glories. That is, they know that the Lord has all the opulences in full, like knowledge, fame, wealth, beauty, power, renunciation, everything in full. So that is unalloyed. And here we see Krishna and Balaram are entering Dwarka, the Mathura. He has been brought by Akura. So all are seeing him and they're all being attracted. So attractive he would be, and everyone will stop their work and they will be just gazing at them, as they enter the city. So now Krishna continues to say, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravavartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanita. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Okay. So here we found everything. That is the wise people who know this, they engage in devotional service. So this is what, this is the starting of the Chatur Sloka, which I said, Here, what it is actually, it is giving us the Sambandha Jnana. That is the relationship we have with the Lord. See, if you want to have some relation, now if you want to have some business with your friends, say, then first what you do, first you try to get to know him, right? You get to know him, you will try to make friends with him, you will go together for some lunch and they invite and finally get to know, and then you see the interest. And then what do? Then only you start to try to have a business, right? And then you will, once you have the business, that would be your activity, you will engage yourself with those friends. Then finally, what is the profit? The profit you get from the business is the profit in the prayojana. So the sambandha is the first. Unless you create a sambandha, we cannot have any dealings or any type of relation or any type of affinity to the person, right? So here, this is the thing, activity of the sambandha. What is the establishes our relationship with Krishna? He is the creator and the maintainer, okay? So the wise people, the spiritual devotees who know this perfectly, engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So this is the Sambandha Jnana. So we should understand our relationship with the Lord, because he is the origin and he is the one, and from him everything has come, and he is the one maintaining, annihilating everything, right? So this is our relationship with the Lord. This is a Sambandha. Then Then what do they do once they know about him, once they know the relation? What is the activity they get involved? The Madchitta Madgata Prana, Bodhyanta Parasparam, Katyansta Cha Mam Nityam, Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. So, the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me, their lives are surrendered to me, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss, enlightening one another and conversing about me. That is Katyansa Mam Nityam. Tushyanti cha ramanti. They will be enjoying themselves in the conversing about his kathas, about talking about him and enlightening each other. And they are very happy with this kind of activities. And whom we see here Prabhupada and the devotees. You just see how they are. Oh, I think I should share with some. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna.
So, how many of you have made, you see, becoming a pure devotee is not a common thing, isn't it? And he, within a year or so, he had made so many people going mad, right? And all that because all he just preached was Bhagavad Gita and about the Sankirtana Yajna. And this is how they were able to transform their lives. Okay. So this is the activity which goes on. A pure devotee. They always live in Krishna consciousness and they always be reciting him, talking about Krishna and talking and sharing among themselves. And then what does Krishna do? What does Krishna reciprocate? So in this verse you can see Tesam satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayante te. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give them understanding by which they can come to me. So this is the prayojana, that is the result. That is what is the benefit. And what is that? Once we have the relation, we understand our relationship with the Lord, and then engage ourselves in the devotional service. Then how does Lord reciprocate? He gives us the understanding how to come back to him. Here we see Dhruva Maharaj. He goes to the forest to meditate on the Lord to get a kingdom much, much, much bigger than Brahma, Lord Brahma, because he was insulted by his stepmother for not letting him to sit on the lap of his father. So he was just 5 years old, and then he comes, and then by the instructions of Naradaji, he meditates. And it's a severe, the Ashtanga yoga he does. And within 6 months, he'll be so perfect. He's so such a samadhi would be there. He'll only live on his, not even breathing, He will just once in 12 days, he'll be breathing air, And in fact, it will suffocate the whole world. Then the Krishna Lord comes to give him benediction. And when the Dhruva Maharaj sees him, he's dumbstruck. He doesn't know how to pray to him because he just come for the thing. He didn't know how to talk or how to pray and everything. So then the Lord just touches his conch shell on his forehead, and he gets all the understanding. He gets the entire thing. His whole consciousness changes, And he gives such a beautiful prayers that's given in Bhagavatam, So he sings the glories of the Lord, and if he's so remorseful for having come to him to ask for material kingdom wealth, when he's getting the utmost, which no sages got, that is the Lord's darshan. So then, but then he gets all the knowledge and everything. So the Lord, once you constantly devoted and worship him with love, he gives the understanding by which they can come to me. How the understanding you get from him. So how I can go. So can also, and how does he give? He is there, sitting in all our hearts as a Paramatma. So from inside, he'll reveal the entire knowledge. And then he continues to say, Tesam evan anukampatam aham ajnana jam tamaha nasyami atma bhavasto nana deepena bhashvataha. Out of compassion for them, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge and the darkness born out of ignorance. So when he touched Dhruv Maharaj, all that impurity which he had, due to this conditioning in the material world, everything, all that darkness born of ignorance vanishes. He gets the shining lamp of knowledge, and he will be so equipoised, that entire thing changes of it. The entire outlook of him, the boy was just a 5 years old, but he has become like a sage, with that knowledge and with that understanding. He just grows up, and all his impurity gets vanished, because the Lord is so pure. He can when you get into touch with him, all the impurities goes away. So here also we see Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadev Goswami, and how they get the knowledge, Nana Deepa, that shining lamp thing. And here we have Kapila Dev is instructing Sankhya philosophy to his mother Devahuti. And here we have Lord Krishna is giving Uddhava Gita. And he is just before he leaves the world, this material world, going back to the spiritual world, he gives the philosophy to his friend Uddhava. It's known as Uddhava Gita. And this is Marishi, I think, the sage Marishi. So this is what we get. So these are the 4 slokas which talks about the sambandha we have with the Lord. And once we understand the sambandha with him, then we will get into the activities of all the time with the pure devotion. And those are the activities we get involved. Once we see the seriousness and how involved we are, then what the Lord does by his mercy, we get the understanding to go back to him. Otherwise, it's just not possible to go back to him unless we get the mercy of the Lord. Okay, then he gives us the knowledge, and all our darkness, which are the impurity or the misgivings in our hearts, gets dispelled by the Jnana Deepena. Okay, so this is the Prayojana. That is Abhidena, and then Abhidaya, and then Prayojana. So these Chatu slokas are the essence of this Bhagavad Gita. These 4 slokas, is good to memorize. Now you see Arjuna surrenders. He finally says, Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adi Devam Majam Vibhom, Ahastvam Rashya Swarve, Devashi Naradas Tata Asito Devala Vyasaha, then Swayam Chaiva Bravishmite. So what does he say? Param Dhamma. So Arjuna says, you are the supreme Brahman, the ultimate. Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, supreme abode. And Pavitram is the purifier. As I said, he'll purify everybody. The absolute truth, Paramam, and eternal, divine person. You are the primal God, Purusha, transcendental and original. And you are the unborn and all-pervading beauty. All the great sages. So, Shashvatam, Divyam, Adi Devam, Ajam Vibhom. So all the great sages such as Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyasa proclaim this of you. and now you yourself are declaring it to me. So he says, now all his doubts are cleared, and he says, you are the Supreme. So he accepts him as the Supreme Brahman, and he says, not only me, even Deva Rishis like Narada, Vasita, Devla, all the other sages are also said the same thing. And you also are declaring to me that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I accept you. So finally, Arjuna is accepting the Lord. So, Sarvam etad vratam mane yanma vyadashi keshava nahi te bhagavan vyaktam vidur deva na dhanava. Oh Krishna, I totally accept as true all that you have told me. Neither the gods nor the demons, oh Lord, know thy personality. So now he is fully convinced that he is the unborn and is the origin and the supreme personality of God. He says, indeed, you alone know yourself by your own potencies. O origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of all gods, Supreme Person, Lord of the universe. So now he fully is convinced and he knows. See, you see now his conscience is totally changing. First, in the beginning, when the chapter 1, he says, no, Krishna, take me to the center of the battlefield. I want to see who have come. That time he says, Achyutana, take me to the same thing. That time it was just like a friend is asking his charity or his Krishna to take him there, right? And then on the second chapter we saw, he says, now I totally confused, and now I'm your disciple, you're the guru, you tell me what is the best for me and what is my duty. So then there his consciousness changes to he becomes a student, a disciple to the, and he treats Krishna as his guru. Okay. And now, after so many of the discussions, now he says, he is completely convinced. He says, I totally accept you are as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are the one who is the origin of everything, and you know what's happening, and you are the one who is doing everything. You are the one who are created, you are the one who is maintaining, annihilating, and everything. And he very much convinced of his potentials. So origin of all, Lord of things, God of this. So he surrenders now completely. Okay, surrenders. Then now he starts, how should I meditate on you? In what forms are you to be contemplated, O blessed Lord? Tell me again in detail, O Janardana, of your mighty potentials and glories, for I never tire of hearing your ambrosias. So what is he doing now? He has become a true devotee, and he is more and more eager to know about the Lord. So now he is asking, he has completely surrendered. He says, I have no doubt, I know, and you yourself have told, even the sages had said, and now I have heard it from you himself. So now I want, tell me how I should meditate on you, and also tell me more about your glories and potencies. So this is what Arjuna is telling, and yes, completely. So they are in the case. Prabhu is saying that Krishna can prove that is. So now he wants to know what the Lord's potentials. Okay. Can you identify any of you? There are so many personalities. I think you should be knowing them. You can put it in the chat if you can. One by one, there are so many ones here in this picture which I see. So the blessed Lord said, yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only of those which are prominent. O Arjuna, for my opulence is limitless. So now he's telling to know more and more, but now the Lord says there's so many. I can't just list out everything, because it's just never ending, it's unlimited. So only the important ones I might just show you, prominent ones, for which it's you can understand me and my opulences and my glory. Okay. So I don't know if you all have put in the chat. Anyone who can see this? Okay. You don't have to see Lord Shiva here, Brahma here, then you see Narada, then you have Prahlad, then you see here Yama, Lion, then Vasuki, Airavata, the horse, Lord Rama, then Indra. So this is it. So the blessed Lord said, I am among the Vishnus, I am Adityas, I am among the sun, among the light, I am the sun, among the Marutis, I am Marishi, among the stars, I am the moon, I am among the Vedas, I am the Samaveda, among the demigods, I am Indra, among the senses, I am mind, I am among the living beings, I am the life force, among the Rudras, I am Lord Shiva, among the Yakshas and Rakshasas, I am the Kuvera, among the priests, I am Brahaspati. Among the generals, I am Skanda, that is the Kartayani. Then Karteya, that is Lord Muruga. Skanda. Bodies of water is ocean. Sages, I am Brigu. Then and vibrations, I am home. Chanting of holy name, Japa, I am the sacrifices. Immovable things, Himalayas. The trees is holy fig Ashwata. Sages of the demigods, I am Narada. Singers of demigods, I am Chitraratha. Perfect it being Siddhas, they are the Kapila. Horses of Hushaira. That is has come from the churning of the ocean. Then among the men, I am the Monarch. Among the weapons is the Vajra, which Vajra Idano, which Indra, Lord Indra has. Cows, I am Surabhi. Procreators and the Kupid, then serpents, Vasuki, snakes, Ananta, aquatic deities, Varuna, departed Aryama, then dispensers of law, Yama, deity demons, Prahlad, subdues time, Kala, he is Kala, okay, and beast is lion. So he is the source of all the appeals. That means he is the chief, because all of them have got the everything has come from him, isn't it? He is only showing the chief of it. Okay, when he says the sun, I am the sun, means that how to understand this is that, see, when Krishna says that he is the sun among the luminaries, it means that sun is the chief of all luminaries, and they represent the supreme personality of God. Even the sun gets his power from the Lord, no, potent energy. So he is listing here about 82 opulence in this chapter, and chanting of holy names is also him. So he is a supreme Lord. Okay, and then all devouring death, generator of all things, I mean, fame for speech and memory and all that is the women. Bharat Sama is hymns, Gayatri, I mean, among the poetry is the Gayatri mantra, among the months is Margashira, seasons, spring flower, gambling, cheese, and all like that. So many things he gives, not, it goes on the list, that can be seen here, okay. So everything will remind you of me. Everything will remind you of Krishna. So this is what is the essence of things. That is, when you hear about his opulences, when you see that, it will all remind you of Krishna. See, when he talked about his creation, so the pure devotees not only know is the thing about him, they know that in creation also they see him. So they see him in creation, as well as they know he is the origin. So, furthermore, Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existence. There is no being moving or unmoving that can exist without me. Okay. And O mighty conqueror of enemies, there is no end to my divine manifestations. What I've spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulence. So, he is the all pervading. So, I mean, only the Lord can make such a statement, isn't it? Nobody else can make a statement like this. Boldly saying. And then finally he concludes saying, Yad yad vibhutimat sattvam srimad urjitam evava tatta deva gachatvam mama tejamsi sambhavam. Know that all beautiful, glorious and mighty creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. So anything which you see of quality, of fine, I mean, whatever we see here, which is of fine things and all that, it's all from the Lord. Okay. In material world, when somebody is accomplished, is not. So that's how we can see the Lord. He is the opulent, beautiful, and glorious creation, spring from the mark of my splendor. So, but what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. So, Atava Bhavani Anta Kim Natena Bhavatava Arjuna Vistabhayam Idam Krishnam Mekam Sena Stito Jagat. So, he can support the whole thing, and there's no need to know all this detailed knowledge. Okay. So, we learned about his vibhutis, that is the opulence of the Lord. Okay. So Krishna he starts with saying that whoever knows that he is unknowable and the source of all, then they are the wise people. They are not deluded, and they engage with pure bhakti in him. They are unallowed devotion to them. And then we saw the Chatur Slokas, where Krishna will summarize his opulence, and then their sambandha. That's how they get related. See, unless we know about somebody, only then we can relate to them, isn't it? So through this, the wise people get to know him, and their relationship starts. And then how do they relate with him? What are the activities? They are all the time thinking of him, talking about Krishna Katha, and they're joyfully they'll be exchanging their thing among their devotees, others, their association. Then how does Krishna reciprocate? He gives them the understanding to come back to him, and he dispels the ignorance which they have. So by giving them knowledge, so that's how they can go back. So finally, now we see Arjuna accepting Krishna as the supreme person, and then the beautiful prayer he says, Param Dhamma, Param thing, and he wants to know more about the Lord. So the Lord describes his vibhutis, okay, and all that we saw. So Bhagavad Gita is actually a science, where we not only a philosophy, it also gives the practical. How do we practice? So it not only talks about devotion and also gives us the ways of practicing the devotional and what the nature is and how the devotees are and everything. So now we know the source of everything, and the essence of Gita we saw, and Krishna is everywhere. Okay, it's all pervading creation. So what does this is a great Acharya, Vishwanath Thakura, more than 500 years ago. In his commentary on Bhagavad Gita, he says, once one understands who Krishna is, then one can surrender. Because without understanding, we cannot surrender. But when one surrenders to the shelter of the all-powerful, all-knowing, all-bliss-granting super personality of Godhead, then one can feel secure because he is everything. And once he surrenders to the shelter, and once they come under the shelter of Supreme Personality of Godhead, then he is very secure. He knows God takes care of him, everything. Then only when one can feel secure can he feel peaceful. So that's how he can be peaceful and satisfied in his being. And it doesn't matter whether he is in the material world or is in the spiritual world. All he wants to be in thinking of the Lord and being in this conscious of the Lord. So only thing is we need to shift is our consciousness and nothing else. That's all is required by us. And that's what the Bhagavad Gita says here. So with this, I stop. Vancha kalpatru abhyascha, kripa sindhu evacha, patitam nam pavanebhyo, vaishnavyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the starting of it. In the first step we take in our devotional service, chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So please you will be happy by doing this. Chanting. Okay. I will stop this.